Yo, white guys, Beast, back with some more Beastly content, and today's video is going to be helpful to you whether you're starting a new character, taking your current character to another scenario, or creating yourselves and all. So today we're going to be talking about what scenario should you be playing in once human. So with the latest content updates that have been coming out recently, there's been a whole lot of content updates, both in the early access stage and in the official launch stage. So we're going to cover all the different options you have, whether you're exiting your current scenario early, you're exiting one scenario to join another one as an alt, or etc, etc. Though if you're doing alting, honestly, my should you make a new character video might be for you. Shows you some tips for alts. But let's go ahead and exit server card here. We're going to talk about the different choices of scenarios you have to play. We'll cover PvP and PvE, even though most people know I'm primarily a PvE player when it comes to once human. I actually don't think I've ever played a PvP scenario, so when we talk about these PvP scenarios, we will be linking down below the trailer for them as well, but I'll see you in just a second. Alrighty, here we go. So I'm actually making an alt for my Way of Winter update Visional test run. So let's go ahead and click sign up for a new scenario on this second alt here. We are going to be sending it to the new version of Way of Winter, the version that has Starfall Inversion. If you did not know, the early access for Way of Winter actually included Starfall Inversion. So with that being said, let's go ahead and see what all sorts of options you got. So first of all, there are two new three really early access scenarios. Two of them are legitimately new scenarios that are in early access. Now when I say legitimately new scenarios, I'll go ahead and do a little bit of a rundown about Endless Dream. Now I do have a 4-man in Endless Dream. It has passively leveled itself to level 40. I haven't got the passive gear yet, so we don't have any gear on our Endless Dream, but I'll go ahead and tell you a little bit about the Endless Dream. So we'll cover this in the future, and maybe I'll have some clips in here, but Endless Dream pretty much is full map. So it's not full map, but it does take the two current maps that are out, Man Abyss and Way of Winter, combine them into one, and yes, you can go through and collect all 10 of the settlement area NPC vendors. This means you can make half of 1,000,000 EL every single week that the vendor caps reset on Endless Dream. Aside from that, there's these new areas called Dream Zones. I've found trees you can mine that give Stardust source. I've found ores that are shaped like clocks that give some sort of like Sands of Time ore or something like that. I'm not 100% sure because once again, overall, here's the reason why, and here's the note I'm going to mention on this. This is early access. Keep this in mind, guys. What early access pretty much means is they didn't want to pay any bug monkeys to, actually play the game before us. So instead, they've created this early access idea to where the community gets to play it. We tell them what bugs are currently going on their unfinished content. Even though it's pretty close to finished and there is like full content here to play, you will experience plenty of bugs. Now, I personally didn't play enough on Endless Dream to actually experience too many bugs, but we've got more scenarios here to talk about. So like I said, Endless Dream, it's early access only. The Hive limit on this, I don't know if it's because it's early access only or what, is only 8 players. It's also full map, so that might be why it's only 8 players. But regardless, yeah, that's Endless Dreams. On to Once Human Raid Zones. Now this is a PvP scenario. This is a new thing. This is brand new. They were actually calling this like a spin-off at first, but it's just a different game mode. So, Once Human Raid Zones, what is this? So, I've heard players call this as free-to-play Rust, and you know what? You're probably pretty close. So, first things first, I don't remember 100% on if this is full map or if this is just like one or the other. I'm thinking it's full map too, so I'm thinking this is full map just like Endless Dreams, but the difference is it's PvP, drop only, no elemental builds, and you can build anywhere, you can destroy anything, people can destroy your stuff. We got full raids. If you're a PvPer and the PvP's been kind of lacking, I honestly suggest go jump right into raid zones and check it out, guys. There could be exploits going on. There's probably some sort of bugs because it is early access. However, of the two early accesses, I've actually heard less issues with raid zones, though I haven't really looked in the raid zone news, so do keep that in mind. Trailer link down below if you just want to watch a trailer for raid zones. That's pretty much all you need to know about raid zones. Next, you could join a Way of Winter server, or you could join a Man Abyss server. Now, for the early access stuff, we're going to cover all the early access stuff first. The Way of Winter update is here. Now, this version of the update is an early access version, so here's what it actually does. So, first things first, the weather system has been overhauled. So, the weather can get more extreme now, and we have an extreme weather map on our map now. It'll actually tell us where blizzards and volcanic storms are taking place with a timer of how many hours until they actually become worse. These storms can be tamed and, taken care of. We can neutralize the area with these new thermal tower sort of things that are public thermal towers anybody can teleport to. You will need to feed Chaosium hearts to them. As for what Chaosium hearts are, so they mentioned something about gathering or defeating enemies. Now I can only assume a Chaosium heart is going to drop from Chaos Weavers. They're the only enemies we haven't actually gotten to drop. However, it seems like you need 20 of them for the towers. I was really hoping maybe these would drop from elites in the extreme weather zones, but currently the elites in the Way of Winter update test version actually do not drop anything on phase 1 at least. We will find out in phase 2, but on phase 1 of the Way of Winter update test, blue drops are bugged. There's your first bug. There's a door in the main story that sometimes opens, sometimes doesn't. There's your second bug. But overall, it might be a very interesting experience. Another thing to note is there are now 4 endings to the Way of Winter. Now, 4 endings, you can only get 1 per playthrough, and, I don't like the multi-ending thing. I mean, I do, but I don't like it when it's server progress-based, because I don't really know how you're going to aim to get all the other endings, because there's a good chance the servers are just going to default 1 ending, because the servers are always going to play the same way. So we will see how it goes on the multiple ending situation here. I think Endless Dream also has a multi-ending. I'm not 100% sure on that. Once again, I've kind of played more of the Way of Winter than anything else. So, the Way of Winter has multiple versions of it. So, there's base Way of Winter. This is the stable release of Way of Winter. This does not have any new content in it whatsoever. Nothing new has been added or adjusted. Nothing. Then there is the Way of Winter Visional version. This one includes the Starfall Inversion Visional scenario, and if you stay on a Visional server after it becomes perma, it will remain as a Visional server, and whenever the next Visional comes out, it will actually automatically convert to the next Visional, and you'll be starting with your stuff. That's another thing. You don't technically have to go to another scenario if you're already on one. If you want to play a perma scenario, if you want to stay on a perma server, I highly recommend it. I have linked down below all sorts of perma server based builds I've done. I gotta tell you guys, playing on perma server as a daily player is an absolute blast, guys. But back to the Way of Winter. Like I said, you can play the Starfall Inversion, and then you can play the update testing Way of Winter. This one does not include Starfall Inversion. This is pretty much base game with the new updates and the new bugs. It's early access, keep that in mind. And then there's update testing plus Visional content, guys. And this is actually the one that I have started my 16-man Hive on. As you can see here, we are just creating a character now. Now, once again, I will cover every single scenario you can join in this video. For those of you who are newer, you can also join Manabist, you can join Evolution's Call, or you can join Prism vs. Clash. Now, Prism vs. Clash and Evolution's Call are just 2 more PvP scenarios. Now, these do allow elemental builds, so there are going to be people running around with one-shot elemental builds, and it's PvP, and in this type of game, when you have elemental builds, I don't like playing PvP. Now, that's actually the only reason why I might actually play raid zones one day, is because there's no elemental builds, and elemental builds are kind of what breaks PvP to begin with. But Prism vs. Clash and Evolution's Call are the other 2 PvP scenarios. Yes, they do have a Visional version. So, yeah, if you want to play those, I don't know, you might want to look up some videos on what they actually are, because I can't really tell you what they are. Besides their PvP, there's like a factions system on one of them, and there's a couple new items that are exclusive to PvP. Aside from that, I don't really care about that. On the Manabist, you can play the normal version of Manabist, and you can play a Visional version of Manabist. I have an 8-man Hive perma server base on my Manabist. As a matter of fact, I actually can keep my 8-man, 1-man Hive on my Manabist perma server that's Visional, and I've actually started a 16-man, 1-man on Manabist, all thanks to the use of characters, as you can see right here. So, without further ado, we're going to go ahead and leave Eternal End and head on back to the main menu here. I'm actually going to go ahead and send this character off into the Way of Winter update test version, but I do believe I have actually, and there we go. So I do believe I've actually covered all of the scenario options that you do have. As for which one I would suggest you to do, let me leave you with a couple closing thoughts. Like I said earlier, early access is early access. If you're a newer player and you have not ever finished your playthrough through Manabus, go through and finish out Manabus. If you've never played Way of Winter as a new player, very difficult for me to recommend any player to go play the original version of Way of Winter when the update test is out. However, as a player of the update test plus Visional version, which might have more bugs than just the update test version, I'm not 100% sure on that either. If you're looking for a bug-free experience, you might just want to go play a Visional on a normal Way of Winter or a normal Manabus. If you're okay with bugs or you really need new content, of the two new contents, honestly, if you have not played the Endless Stream yet and you are actually looking for something that you can sink some hours into, I highly suggest go check out Endless Streams. I have heard it's really buggy. I've heard the servers are pretty unstable and laggy. As for a Manabus server player, I didn't have any lag during my periods of playing on that. Anytime I play on the perma server, I have no lag. As for the Way of Winter update test server, I haven't really experienced too much lag per se, but there are quite a few of game-breaking bugs in the Way of Winter update test version. As a matter of fact, here's another wild bug. Hot and Cold Rock ore in Phase 1 of Way of Winter currently aren't dropping a thing. So currently, there's no way of mining hot or cold rock ore. So you're going to be left using other methods of keeping warm in the new extreme temperatures. And if we don't find a way of getting Chaosium Hearts soon, and they don't drop from Weavers, we gonna have some real cold and some real hot areas on this test version of Way of Winter. But I do believe this is about it. I'm gonna go ahead and finish making the 16-man hive. I do have 5 more accounts. This one is 5, so we have 4 more alt characters on all my different accounts to be making to actually get my 1-man perma server high, like, you know, 16-man 1-man going on here. So we're actually doing server 131 update test and Visional for Way of Winter. So if you do want to join the same server as me, here it is. But I do believe that's about it for what scenario should you play next in Way of Winter or in Once Human. And I am out. See you. Go ahead and leave a like on the video if you did enjoy it. And hopefully the next thing we see is 16-man 1-man hive. But I'm out. See you. Keep it beast mode.